Good evening, Speed Gaming. Hope everyone is having a good time. If not, we can improve it. We have Final Fantasy Randomizer Swiss Tournament Round 2. It is jkoper versus Edgeworth, and we're about to get them started, so we'll see them up and running very shortly. This is actually going to be the first matchup of the tournament for jkoper. He ended up getting a bye in the first round unintentionally. But that's the way it goes sometimes. I'm joined tonight by Braxis Muse. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, and it's looks like we're going to be running with the same party, which kind of a bold move. Starting out with no white mage, as it could be super effective in black and white for them early on, or it could hinder them both. So we'll see how it goes.
You've got probably over a 50% chance of having access to a life spell. That doesn't necessarily mean you'll get it, and I've been regularly practicing without it. They're actually both using the same party I ran yesterday, and it looks like either jkoper changed his last party member or redid it. But here he goes now. jkoper, a regular institution when it comes to retro gaming. Level 1 nuke, that's a pretty nice spot.
Yeah, dollar store nuke and lit 3 right there off the gate, so definitely a good start for both these runners. Rub's not terrible, but having the AoE magic I think is going to be plenty for them to get started.
Very interesting. That has posed jkoper to believe it's time to reroll this seed to take advantage of that level 1 nuke, so I guess he's going to bring 3 casters for it. I don't mind that. This is a minute here, doesn't cost you anything. It's not even a minute. Edgeworth, of course, an institution himself. He has been nicknamed the champion lately. He's been on a roll with all the tournaments he's been winning. Got some cabins for sale. I wouldn't mind one to save outside of Toper.
And I kind of like this early move for jkoper, because if we can get decent black magic early enough for both those red wizards, he might be able to Dan and just go with a 3-party strat, which could be as effective as running with the 4 people. So
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if jkoper dropped to a 3-man. I don't think he has any practice with doing 2-man, so I don't think we would see more than 1 drop. And it's all runner preference. jkoper may stick with 4 the whole way. Nukes can clear out dungeons pretty quickly for you.
It looks like we found Dragon Armor, Ice Shield, and Pro Ring in the chest here inside Temple of Fiend, so not a bad early find.
No, but Garland says, that was too easy. Let me show you what we can do. It's to the point Edgeworth resets. You don't see that very often with Garland. 100% success rate on mute, and it looks like Edge is just going to try and turn order this, get the nuke off before the mute. That's the power of having that save right outside Temple of Fiends. You can do this.
Oh, this Garland Knight, it's posing some problems. I mean, I wouldn't think that the runners may, at some point, if they don't get a high roll like Edge just did, having to maybe come back later when they're just a little bit higher level.
Yeah, he just needed a turn in which Garland did in the first round mute. jkoper's seeing that now himself. And I don't think jkoper bought a weapon. I think Edge has one on one of those nights. But again, that's how great that cabin is. You get to redo this. That's why it's worth spending 200 gold on when you don't have that much. Second try for jkoper. Edge wants to get the treasure before taking advantage of that warp. Puts him at a higher level for doing this than most people are.
Yeah, finding that early Dragon Armor, I mean, Edge has both the fighters, so he may want to hold on to that so that he can, gear up both of his fighters. But with jkoper only running 1 fighter, depending on if they need money, I wonder if he might sell that off here.
That'd be That's not a piece of armor you're usually going to put up on the chopping block. Something like Excalibur makes a lot more sense to sell. The zombies take out jkoper's fighter, and now he's going to have to 3-man the rest of this Temple of Fiends. Did Edge wipe?
Yeah, it looked like he wiped on his way out by the zombies or Geist. I think it was zombies.
That's really unpleasant because he did not save after killing Garland, so he's going to have to try and get turn order again.
And it's crazy to see this because, like, most of the time when you're doing these flag sets that we're doing, it's always that early Marsh dive that people, you know, dread doing. I mean, you don't dread going in and having to reset out a, say, Garland, you know, 10, 11 times, so...
Adamant and herb. That's what you call a subtle hint from the seed. It's telling you which direction you want to go in. I make a play not a lot of other people that I see make, but I love to get that imp fight right at the first encounter table and get level 3 in the extra spell charge whenever possible. It doesn't always work out, but it's a pretty high percentage play that levels off Temple of Fiends.
It looks like Ed
get through.
It looks like Ed chose to go across the bridge. Probably going to do the old cabin trick, check Matoya's and possibly what Provoca has, and then just reset out if he doesn't find anything.
The nice thing about going to Matoya's is usually getting money in some form or fashion, whether it's something you sell directly or a big pile of cash. If you don't get it, you can always reset out. The advantage to going to the original Provoca is you've got a chance for more of your early level magic. And possibly item if it's Crescent Lake.
Light Axe and the loose loot.
That is a loaded Matoya's Cave. They don't get much better than that. Light Axe is a decent enough weapon for now. It's free AoE versus undead. The only trouble is that poison. It's probably going to have to walk back to Corneria at this point.
Yeah, it appears that. But yeah, definitely finding the Light Axe and the loose loot, that's going to give him one of his loose items. Which I believe on this flag set, once we hit 12 of the incentivized items, we do get a 150% boost in our XP, so...
Well, this is a little bold for Edge, and I'm not sure... This may be a case of I just didn't think of the alternative of going back to Corneria first, but if this isn't a town with the ability to resurrect, he's still going to have his fighters down. So if this is Melmon, it's not great for him.
I think at this point he just wants the knowledge as to what's here.
If it's basically any other town, he's fine. Lefane he'll just reset out of. Anywhere else, he's going to be able to res and stay at the end. And that's what we get. Crescent Lake, so he's going to get a 9. And I don't mind the play of coming here. It's a little rough without having the full party. Life 2, Cure 4, level 6. Not great for the red mages.
Not great, but, you know, I think Edge kind of knew where he was going. He was just going home.
Chime from the Adamant and Ship from the Confused Old Men. That's going to make getting back to Corneria a bit easier for Edge. Wonder if we see jkoper go the direction of Provoca? Not yet. Might go down to the Elfland area first. Good point in chat, noticing Edgeworth's extreme skill in menuing. He has got a lot of hours logged on this game, and very good reflexes to be able to menu as fast as he does. Now with a little bit of money, he's able to buy a bunch of heal potions. That's always a very welcome sight. It's a pretty decent price on them at only 17 gold each.
It looked like when he stopped in the armor shop, I couldn't quite tell with the menuing, but it looks like he might have sold his ice shield in order to be able to afford some of these items?
I think he did, which is a very interesting call. Minochi would be proud. There's at least 4 shields out there, I think, that would replace it. Flame Shield, Opal Shield, Aegis, and I guess it's only 3. Don't do math while I'm on Twitch. With all this poison going around, it's probably worth noting that antidotes and soft potions will always be for sale in Canaria so that you can't get status effect soft locked. Also worth noting, we do not have to do a Marsh Cave dive right now because of the ship access. We have access to the Onrak and town entrance, the Melmond entrance, and Crescent Lake entrance.
And it looks like Elfland is the original Elfland, where level 3 we have Ruse and Exit, so definitely decent white magic to start.
That exit might make you a little more brave about going to Marsh Cave and just targeting that wizard incentive chest. But with 3 nuke casters, I think jkoper would be able to do it even if the level's a little low. There was a question in chat asking about fixes to weapons, and yes, we actually have a flag called Weapons Fixes, which changes things to correct crit values. Although the crit values actually get doubled, that's a different story. Edge has found Provoca and some pirates to settle a score with. Gotta like those early pirates.
It looks like he chose to check this out before going south to the Elfland commune, so...
He's got the tail, we can't use that until class change, but the herb netted the canoe, so now even without the ship, jkoper has access to the Crescent Lake entrance. And it looks like that's exactly what he's gonna do. We have the level 2 magic. No Fade, that would have been the dream with the red mages. But Ice 3's not too bad. Neither's Fire 3.
Yeah, not bad level 2 magic at all. And then once he hits Elfland and is able to pick up that exit, I mean, his places to go are going to be all over the place, but I wouldn't be surprised if he hits up Ordeals, considering he'll have all that AoE magic, and he'll be, I think, around level 6 at that point, so...
Walking to Earth? That would be a bold play.
Well, this is definitely a gamble here.
This is one of the most fascinating plays I've seen anybody make. I'd understand this move if he had Ruby and was going to Sarda, but this is probably just to check the first floor.
Yeah, I think he is, and in fact, I've actually watched Edge over the last couple weeks play a ton of these flag sets, and he, for one, doesn't like doing the early Earth dive, but both of us had commented that a lot of seeds that we had watched in both Week 1 and even Practice Seed always had something lying in Earth, so I want to see if he's just wondering if this is the case, gets that early gamble. I mean, it could really pay off if this is the case.
I mean, if one of the 2 loose items are here, that's tremendous. If not, the first floor doesn't cost you a lot of time. But if you want to go floors 2 and 3 to check everything while you're here, that's different. Got some more gold, and a Procade is not a terrible find. Question in chat, isn't Black Belt kind of broken at higher levels? Yes. You get a Black Belt at 32, and you're more powerful than anybody wielding the Masmune. Level 7 now for Edge. jkoper seems to be headed to the Crescent Lake area. He started here with the canoe.
Looks like he's gonna try to get I think he's hoping for some peat fights right outside here.
Yeah, they're a very rewarding encounter, and it can be a little tricky to check for them accurately because Crescent Lake is actually a crossroads of 3 different encounter zones. So to check for first or second encounter peats, you have to actually check 6 spots to accurately know, unless you find them before that. Looks like one and done. Edge checked the first floor, found a pro cape, and is taking it out of here.
We find Crescent Lake is actually on rack. And the housing market in this seat is actually fairly reasonable at just over $600, so...
As great with these mages and letting you have the ability to cast Nuke, I wonder if jkoper makes the play for early Volcano, or does he go towards the incentive location, Ice Cave? He has access to both with the canoe. Edge has the ship, he's not yet gotten the canoe. Crystal was our vendor item for sale in Provoca, so jkoper won't find this until he gets the ship, or possibly floater. This is an interesting dynamic in this scene. If the canoe had not been there, jkoper would have been forced back towards the ship in the same path that Edge went.
Or Marsh. He could have even maybe done Marsh, too.
That's true. I hate Marsh under level 8, personally. But not everybody shares that distaste, and the nukes make it a lot more viable.
Yeah, I was gonna say, having the AoE magic would make it a little bit more viable to dive at a lower level. But it looks like he's gonna check out Volcano here. As we know, the armory has a decent density of chests that can be checked right there.
Oh my. That is interesting. The ruby from Matoya opens access to Sarda. Does Edge take that bait? Does he go for one of the incentive locations? For jkoper, you just said it, a lot of chests here. One of them has the loose rod. That's both our loose items. This early in the seed, that's remarkable. We found the loot loose in Matoya, and we found the rod in Volcano. There is a possibility of one more loose item, but from no mode, that says to me Edge needs to get over to Sarda as quickly as possible. But that's easy from this perspective. He doesn't know that.
It looks like he's gonna go right over there with that ruby and head that way.
This is a play I like a lot. You're not really investing a ton of time into this. Now, he doesn't know where that other loose item is, but having found the ruby and tail, it's a very high likelihood this is a required item, and when you still need the floater, required items are where you want to go. With the ruby and tail found, other than finding a cabinet in an incentive location, everything else should be required. All the other incentive locations, there's the cube, which sets up for Mirage Tower to be accessed. Ooh. If I were a gambling man, you could go Mirage. but Edge is such a good runner, he can really rely on that execution to carry him through battles, so... him, that kind of leads you more towards the straight path.
I know he still has yet to see Elflin, so I'm curious if he's going to, once he gets back in the boat, if he's going to take the south route down and around, maybe stop at Elfland there to see what that is, and then continue the way over to Crescent Lake, because I'm assuming that's probably the direction he's going to want to start heading.
jkoper about to get to the armory, one of the most chest-rich places in the game. There's that Excalibur. And defense. Loaded armor. What can he do with that defense sword, Brax?
Defense sword, if you use it as a use item in battle, it actually casts, I believe it's Invis on your character holding it.
Actually, it'll be Ruse, so twice as effective.
And the opal bracelet down there in the armor.
The best absorb defense that a mage is gonna get.
That is probably one of the better second floor volcanoes I've seen in quite a while in a season.
As far as not having a progression item, that's about as good as one can get. Thank you, chat. It's almost like the armory contains significant amounts of weapons and armor. We should have a clever name for it. Edge is... I like this play. He's getting to Elfland from the south dock. I think this is going to cause him to go to ordeals getting the canoe. Soon how that prediction sure to go wrong goes. And jkoper dealing with this volcano. The other thing I liked about it is because he picked up all those houses, he's going to be able to refill the nuke charges as he went along.
Level 3 black magic just didn't have anything. Dark, lock, it looked like sleep, and I think just single cast light.
With 3 mages, having 2 spell slots available out of the... for all those 3 people means you've got 6 AoE magic spots. That's pretty good. That's going to be more than enough to clear out any dungeon, even at relatively low levels. He lacks durability in this party, but he's got plenty of firepower to kill stuff with. Taking the preview fight, this is the Agama, which some people like to check to see if they want to kill lots of Agamas.
Yeah, and I don't remember seeing if jkoper picked up Quad X at Elfland, because that's usually a good spell that you can test on the Agamas to see if you're able to kill them in one shot or if they rolled really high health.
Interesting play. I said it earlier, finding the ruby and tail basically means every other incentive location is required. Edge, he is a wise man, much better at this game than I am. He reached that same conclusion, so he is going to the Marsh Cave, knowing he's going to need this item eventually.
When he's got the nuke, he found that light axe, so definitely going to be of use down here, being able to dig some stuff up.
What do you think his best find here could be?
I know everybody probably wants to find the mass immune early, especially in Marsh, but honestly, I would like to see maybe Power Bonk.
What about for the incentive item?
Incentive item, I would like to see maybe TNT, and then TNT into maybe floater?
Yeah, either the floater or path to the floater would be big, because being in the neighborhood he is, jkoper's very likely to go to Ice Cave. Black Shirt's going to be a very welcome sight.
But I'm definitely a fan when it comes to the old fetch quests. I know a lot of people don't, so having those fetch quests that lead to another quest that leads to another one, those are the ones I always enjoy.
I think the best case for jkoper right now would be find the Masamune somewhere where Edge isn't going to end up checking. I think Edge is pretty likely to find the Excalibur. Just ribbon hunting, if nothing else. Do we have a soft dragon? Not great. Looks like it's high on the magic defense.
I'm actually curious to see how soon Edge is going to hit the volcano, because once he finds that rod, he'll know that that's potentially both loose items at that point. And I wonder if it's going to minimize the amount of chests at that point he decides to check or don't check.
Well, again, at the risk of being sure to go wrong, I'd be really surprised if he doesn't go to Ordeals after this, because all he has to do is sail to the south from Elfland, easy for me to say, and he's right there. With the canoe, he's got easy access. It's not any easier to get to with the airship, it's harder actually.
Yeah, it's actually a way longer walk too, and you potentially have more encounters to deal with.
Locations that are particularly interesting to see if they lead to the floater. One is what Edge is about to check. It's a slab. The other interesting check is going to be Ordeals, because that takes you further away from the ice cave.
And we haven't seen Lefane yet, so the only other places that Lefane could be in order to do the for that turn-in would be Vanilla Onrak, Vanilla Gaia, or Vanilla Lefane, I believe, are the three places left.
Yes, we could reach Onrak by boat, because with extended open progression, there is a dock there. jkoper has restored his first orb, 1 of 4 necessary. And he is sailing up north towards the ice cave.
Now, do you think he's gonna hit the ice cave, or do you think he might actually go out and try to hit the Provoca by coming from the south end here?
I think if he's going to go to Provoca, he will do that after the ice cave. It's just targeting the incentive location right now, and he needs incentive items. He's still looking for the floater at this point. The good news for him is he got a bunch of levels in Volcano, and he's got plenty of houses, so his magic charges are going to be great in here. I think he's got about 30 heal potions left, which is not many, but as long as you're killing things before they kill you, that works out.
Yeah, I don't think you could have called that any better right there, going right south.
Chat says that he did use all his heal potions, so that well, Glare is a rough time of it, and I think probably takes you back to town. I can't imagine doing this without a fighter. Well, I'm not jkoper. Level 10 on Edgeworth's side of things. See if he's got any equipment to move to benefit the mages with that fighter down. As my friend Will Cleosis might say, a veteran move from jkoper. That's a very good chunk of money. How about that Aegis shield, Braxis?
Definitely a good find on Edge's side, but only if he's gonna decide to promote his characters, because you can't use it until after you promote. But I believe it affects protect you from death magic.
It's the best shield for knights in the game. Meanwhile, we also found the waterfall, which is a big find for the double fighter party.
As we can see, the Vorpal being spammed in chat, because as Will Cleosis says, that is the game changer, baby.
Edge about to get to this incentive chest. I don't think we saw warp, did we?
I've not seen Warp yet.
No. There's a couple ways you can use warp to your advantage here. Mystic Key's a great find. Not gonna bother with the zombie dragons. As Edgeworth finds the key to the seed.
Yeah, and the key's gonna give him access to, I believe it's 8 chests in Dwarf Cave, 6 in Canaria, 4 in Elfland Castle. I believe there's 3 in Topher, and 3 in Marsh Cave. Locked, and then there's 1, I believe, in Sea Shrine as well.
This is a fascinating move for Edge. It's one of the things that shows how much he's practiced these flags. He sailed over to the on-rack entrance. With the canoe, he also has access to Waterfall now, another of the incentive locations. And what is in the on-rack entrance?
I want to presume at this point he wants it to be Melman for this. And it's Gaia.
Gaia, where you can get the fairy item once you've released her from the bottle, but we don't have that yet.
And if I was Edge right now going into Waterfall, I would be thinking and hoping that the bottle's in here, because then I won't have to backtrack up this way to Gaia later, once I do find the bottle.
The one thing I might do differently if I was taking jkoper's gamble is skip trapped tiles as much as possible. And the Frostwolves say, here, have some fire to your face.
Wow, Frostwolves, yikes with Blaze.
Edgeworth with the waterfall dive. There's several delicious experience encounters here. The Whiz Mummies are pretty good. But high on their magic defense, resisting nuke.
I'm actually surprised he attacked with his fighter and not just use the light axe for the harm 2 off it.
I'm gonna take care of a little bit of business real fast. I'll be right with you.
jkoper is struggling with those eye mages over there. Finally gets a nuke off. Is able to take them out as he continues to delve deeper into Ice Cave without his fighter.
Question in chat, did anyone purchase the crystal? Edgeworth did. As I recall, that led to Ruby. And I forget what Ruby led to. I think it was the cube.
Cube, yep. Ruby led to the cube.
What have you missed so far? Asks chat. Well, for one thing, these Swizz mummies are hitting very hard. We have found both loose items in this seed, but they've been found by both runners in completely different directions. The loot was in Matoya's cave, so jkoper very likely to find that in the near-ish future, whenever he goes back there with the crystal. For Edge, finding the rod in volcanoes not going to be quite as easy. Now, to kind of complete the circle on this logic, Edge knows he's looking for a loose item still. But he doesn't know what it is, but just by looking at what he found with the ruby in the tail, he knows he's going to need it, and knows he's going to need all the incentive locations. So, to my logic, it makes sense that you're going to hit all these incentive locations as quickly as you can, and check for the loose items along the way. It being in the volcano actually favors jkoper, in my opinion.
Edge down to his last Light Warrior too, getting out of there. But he did pick up the bottle, so a huge pickup for him in the waterfall is he'll be able to let loose the tiny fairy and do that, go up here, get the incentivized item, and may not have to double back and come up this way again.
That is just fantastic that it worked out that well. And he's got a bunch more money now, so he's going to be able to supply his team up. This happens to be the other shop with softs for sale. There's only 2 of them in the game, and one of them's always Corneria. The Power Gauntlet is a nice little find for jkoper. He's up to level 15, which is very respectable for this point of the game. It's gonna be a task to get out of here alive, but he's gonna give it a shot. He gets the ribbon. Oh, he had exit. He's fine. And I believe he's got a very good stock of save items to get out of here.
Now, here's a question for you, Trenton, too, and in case Chad is out there wondering. Because we found the ribbon in the incentivized location of Ice Cave, does that potentially throw another item out in the loose, that potentially be loose because of that?
At the risk of doing math on Twitch, I believe you're correct. Edge definitely got some levels going through Waterfall. It's a pretty good place for experience in the early game especially, so it's one of the reasons he made that play.
Good play here by Edgeworth. He'll not only be able to turn in the TNT, but also having that key, he'll be able to check these boxes here, and the TNT goes to the floater.
Wow. So, ship canoe required to get the bottle out of Waterfall. Turn in pays off with the fairy giving you the TNT. You sail it back to Narek, and there's your float. So, where that could pay off for jkoper is all he's got to do is get up to Provoca and he's getting the ship. And that starts to open up the world for him. So, I think that's actually fairly good news for jkoper at this point.
Nice flame sword pickup for Edge. It'll give his other fighter a decent weapon to start.
So obviously, Edge has a lot of incentive to come over here, turn in the flutter, get the airship, and probably go right up to the Cardia Isles, visit our good buddy, good friend Bahamut, get class changed, and see what wonderful treasures await us in the islands. There's the Fane, but we don't have a translated slab yet. And here's the trip to the islands. A few talking dragons and a bunch of treasures await us. Sun and Vorpal are going to be the best weapons he has for the Knights for the time being.
jkoper picks up his ship from the confused old men of Crescent Light. Also, too, I think now would be a really good time to let the fans out here know, if you guys can't get enough Final Fantasy Randomizer, don't worry. Tomorrow, we have 4 spring tournament matches for you guys, starting at 7 o'clock between Kaiju Katsuki and Hyro Fellows. And then coming in at 9 o'clock, we have Melee Wizard and Sonya Wrath. At 9:30, we have One Fine Day versus Gouda 632. And at 10 o'clock, we have Ali Gerbreth versus Saint Von Jester. And these will all be on the Speed Gaming family of networks tomorrow.
So much going on, and here's where the seed starts to open up for jkoper. The one concern I have is if jkoper is... I don't think he has a lot of practice with extended open progression. I'm just hoping he remembers that dock. Because that dock at Onrak is the key to this seed. You know, aside from the Mystic Key.
And I know, too, in the SRL room, he did have a few questions. I'm also wondering if he understands that this is also free canal.
Well, he has already sailed through it, so yes. Hey, there's a loose ribbon. Very nice find. And we found the incentive one at Ice Cave. So Edge should have at least 2 ribbons for the end game, which is what you want. jkoper should also have 2 from getting that one.
That means I believe we still have 1 ribbon still out there.
So this should be Melmond. Which means we're going to get our last chance for what I would consider useful magic. 6, 7, and 8 I just don't think of as very high value. Especially not if you're bringing 4 Light Warriors and not getting any spell charges.
Also, he does have the slab, so won't have to worry about doing a double dip down here at the Lefane Town. He'll be able to just do it all in one trip. And since he class changed, he should be able to purchase everything, too, that he's available to purchase at this point.
Yeah, I'm sure that also is a factor in this decision making. There's the translated slab for Edge. You mentioned jkoper had some questions. One of those is what Zozo Melmond meant, which, if you're not familiar with this, means that all those desert-looking tiles actually are encounter-eligible tiles. If you're on the green or the stone path, you will not see an encounter.
There is level 5 Fade.
Yes, but it's locked. He's not able to get that on the Red Wizard. Temper, Fast, and Brack at level 5.
That is great. Yeah, that's loaded level 5 magic. I don't know if that's a good find or a bad find. I mean, it's good for the fact that it is level 5, but having all 3 of those on the same charges, you know, might be an issue later on.
Looking at that, I really wouldn't mind Brack being on the same level as one of the others. but having fast and temper is unfortunate. The good news is with 3 casters of it, the impact is going to be minimalized, but you want as many temper charges as possible available for you for the very end game. But you're also going to want to use those fasts to clear out Fiends Revisited. Meanwhile, Edge also has the Chime and Cube. He could go straight from here to Mirage, but first, let's find out what the fine men of Lefane have. They've got the crown. Is coming to Ice Cave, which is going to give him a ribbon eventually. Can't remember if we found anything else particularly important in here.
It looks like jkoper decided to go ahead and do that Earth dive because he does have the rod, so it looks like he might just be in here. He's gonna do the search and probably maybe take Lich out at the same time.
I would like that play a lot. It makes perfect sense from his perspective, not having seen the loot yet. Dealing with the unknown, this is a great play, especially if you're up against a player like Edge. He's won all those races for a reason. He's as high as he is in SRL for a reason. So you're not gonna win this by following his footsteps. You gotta do something different. So here's something different. I love the play.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I like the play a lot. And I like to play even more that he does have the rod, so he won't have to double dip. He can just do it all in one foul swoop.
Yeah, these levels and this number of nuke charges, he's got all the resources you could ask for to clear this place out.
Because at this point, I believe we are still missing the Oxyale and the Crown, I believe.
The Crown we have, Edgeworth got that from Lefane. We are missing the Oxyale. But yeah, as far as is concerned, Edge needs the rod, and that should be it. Which explains exactly why he's here.
Like you said, he does have the cube, he does have the chime, so it'll be interesting what he actually checks before hitting up Volcano.
Well, now I'm curious what the fetch quest is going to lead to.
Oxyale?
That's a distinct possibility. Flame armor is a good find. Yeah, that would be a very good possibility. So Edge to do battle with the Frost Wolves. He's a little more durable than jkoper was here. Blaze is still Blaze, though. And those wolves got the initiative. That did not work out well, but he got away. So all jkoper missed out on was a soft potion.
Those Frost Wolves just not playing nice at all. And with an encounter lineup such as Frost Wolf being that many, the last thing you want to see is AoE magic like Blaze or Thunder or, you know, any of that high level AoE.
As long as Edge doesn't see random encounter Frost Wolves, I think he's gonna be fine here. He's got enough charges of magic on just this red mage to get through here. And, you know, if you put a couple extra levels on the knight, that's not a terrible thing either. Alright, jkoper is up to the vampire floor.
Nice little silver bracelet pickup for jkoper. And there's Edge picking up his power bomb. As he gets ready to take on the eye tile and find his ribbon in the incentivized chest.
I'm curious to see if he does anything extra with this eye, or if he's just take the ribbon and go. Go it is. But just what I was thinking there is it would be a great chance to get a couple extra levels and set up your fighter to have that extra swing, possibly even before Tiamat or Kraken won.
And I gotta think that at this point, Edge probably feels pretty good about his levels. I mean, he's almost 18. I mean, he's got the tail, he's got decent equipment on all of his guys at this point. His magic is just unbelievable. The only thing we're really missing at this point would be, I think, Life 2 wasn't available, and what, we haven't found Warp.
Yeah, we're really past the point of warp mattering versus exit, though.
Yeah.
So, he's fine on that front. About to do battle with Astos. Chat calling for Edge to 2-man. He's certainly seen plenty of 2-man strats. I don't know how often he likes to run them. A white shirt is a very big find for jkoper, and that is something that could pay dividends down the line.
He's gonna take on the one lonely vampire and hopefully find a decent item in the chest behind him. If not, he's just gonna traverse to the next floor and check those. This next floor, though, behind the vampire, I really like, because it has 5 easily accessible chests at the top, and then there's, in the bottom left corner, there's that other room with, I think, 3 chests, 4 chests in it that I don't really like going for if I don't have to.
jkoper knows he has to, because he is looking for 2 loose items, so the one thing you don't want to do more than anything else is have to go back to a dungeon. It is a painful feeling. Even if your play was right at the time, it's painful to have to go back. How long does it take Edgeworth to get to the volcano, which is where we know the rod is waiting?
It is interesting, though, to see him pop into Temple of Fiends, although it's not a very long check, considering the other places he has that he can go that are a lot more dense in chests to be checking these 3 here.
Redoing his weapons to take advantage of that ice sword. He's got the waterfall on the knight. Team Vorpal's missing a golden opportunity in the chat right now, I'm just saying. Here it is, Edgeworth to the volcano. It's the second floor that is the key. It was off to the right side is where we found the rod. jkoper found it first. He's taken it to the Earth Cave, and it's currently trying to clear it out.
And Edge is
going to the armory section first. That doesn't necessarily mean he's skipping the chests, but he's going to the most rich place first. what he does here is a big factor in the outcome of this one. Question in chat, what tier is Nuke? Well, in the vanilla game, it's a level 8 spell. It randomized to level 1. jkoper did not find a ton here in this Earth Cave, but that white shirt's pretty good.
Yeah, especially having that going into Topher, because if Topher just seems to be unbearable, having access to that white shirt could pay dividends.
Very good point in chat. jkoper saw the level 1 nuke and then redid his party to bring along a second red mage and have 3 casters of that level 1 nuke. Excalibur is going to be a pretty welcome sight. So's defense. What was that thing again? Oh yeah, it was the defense. It seems like a loaded spot, very much so. There's also an opal bracelet here, which is the best defense that red mage gets. jkoper has orb number 2. The lead on that category versus Edge. Edge, however, has cleared a lot more of the incentive locations, found the required items. Now we watch to see if Edge goes for the other treasures on this floor.
That's definitely a veteran move right there. Taking the stuff out, saving it, and then he's probably going to come back in and hit these other loose chests. Wow, he just skips right over it.
It's an interesting play for jkoper. Again, you're going towards an incentive item. You've got plenty of nuke charges to get through here.
I'm curious to see how this plays out for Edge, because I'm worried that he's not going to find anything he wants. He kills Carrie, and then he makes the play to say Mirage and Sky looking for that rod that was on the second floor here and just overlook it altogether.
It's very possible, but I withhold judgment until he actually leaves the volcano, because you could go back to the second floor a lot easier from the start, having checked everything else in here first that was more likely. So we will see how this plays out. But from what we know, there's a window open here for jkoper. Talking about Edge, the champion, the man who's won more of these tournaments than anyone else. But we've all been there where you forget that one chest. So he has stuck with the 2-man strats. This is one of the easier dungeons to do it in, and he already had some baseline levels to make this pretty easy. It will be interesting to see how far he takes it with just the 2-man. Does he revive the 4 party members for some of the harder dungeons? Or does he take the EXP-rich high-level dungeons and get his party members to an even higher level?
Yeah, at this point it's really hard to say, because he's gone with the 2-man for a little bit, and like I said, I've watched Edge play quite a bit, and I don't see him run a lot of 2-man party strats, so...
This could be an occasion where he's decided to gamble on it just because the seed handed it to him. The other thing is, because that nuke is level 1, your other 2 party members just don't need to be very high level to have a bunch of charges. I think they both are at 7 right now. Well, you're not going to get too much more. You're only going to get a maximum of 4 more charges, which 14 versus 16 is just not a huge difference.
Yeah, I agree. The only concern I had is if his black wizard was high enough level for a decent amount of the fast temper charges that we know are at level 5 magic.
Here comes Edge versus Carry, trying to light his first orb. He's bringing up party members with life 1 and healing them, so it looks like the 2-man grind was perhaps kind of a hybrid strategy, just to put a few more levels and get the extra swing and durability on the Knight and Red Mage. Because I don't think he needed those 2 party members up for carry, and I don't think he thinks he did either. Here we go. This is what I wondered. If he was coming back in after beating Carry, that looks to be the move. I don't always think like Edgeworth, but when I do, I'm usually right. Because he's usually right.
And this is just interesting to see, because usually you only see the biggest place you see the move like this is in the Sea Shrine, where people will go kill Kraken first on the left side, and then if they need to, they'll double back and hit the mermaids on the right side afterwards.
That's gonna be the rod for Edgeworth. 2 ribbons, all the incentive items you could ask for, and orb number 1 because he defeated Carry. The world is open to him. Which direction does he go next? And it looks like it's gonna be C. A big thank you in the background to the certified authentic Hangry Canuck. Always Canadian, always angry. We're always happy to have him around. Doing the tracking for us. Thank you, Speed Gaming, for hosting so much of this tournament. And thank you to each and every one of you who are spending this part of your day with us, and hope you're entertained by the action so far. jkoper's about to find the loot. Now, if he can just get the warrant, he can go after the crook. No, I'm kidding. He's going to be very happy to find that. He did not buy the crystal yet, so he didn't get the Matoya item. I didn't write down where that was for sale, but it was the vendor item and it was early.
It was at Melman, which was Provoca.
So much randomizer action again. Hope you're following the Speed Gaming family of networks. You'll see plenty of it. You can also visit FinalFantasyRandomizer.com to see the actual randomizer yourself and get started with all this craziness for yourself.
If you were Edge in this situation, Triton, knowing that you're in go mode at this point, and you do have access to the Vorpal, the Excal, and the Sunsword, do you check even the free chest for, say, Mass Immune, or do you just say, you know what, I got the defense, I got the Power Bonk, I have Vorpal, I have Excal, I'm just going.
I have actually what I designate as go mode chests, which are specifically the ones I'm going to because they're low cost. So for example, Edge is about to come up to the Sharknado room. There's 3 treasure chests in there that if I need something, I'm gonna look at those 3. Because it's 2 extra steps, and that's just so low risk for 3 treasure chests that I'm gonna take it. As far as what he has, absolutely good enough. He doesn't need anything more, but more could make his life easier. So those two right there, again, I designate them go-mode chests. Otherwise, what he's going to run into that I designate that personally would be 4 of them in Sky Castle, right next to the teleporter on the last treasure floor. And that's my personal value. Other people are going to have varying degrees of value to what they'll check and what they won't. But that first one he checked is completely free. You do not get an encounter for checking it. You don't move closer towards an encounter, I should say. Going to the other two, it's only 2 steps in the encounter table, so it's very low risk to check those. The worst it could do is give you one more fight before Kraken.
My only concern at this point for Edge is, like I said, he does have really good equipment on his guys, and his top fighter and his red mage did get a little bit of XP, but I think they're only at 20, 21. So I'm curious to see if he's going to take any fights, or how many fights he's going to take once he's in Mirage, to try to seal out those last few levels before getting ready for Tofu.
I think we'll see him make sure he gets enough experience in Sky to have one more swing with that Excalibur. I think that's about the only concern he particularly have. Power Gauntlet, it makes things a bit more forgiving, though. jkoper finds his Vorpal now. And the key.
And that'll be...
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, that'll be Edge's second orb that he lit.
Fire and sea. Next looks to be Sky. He has landed near the Mirage Tower. And that suggests he wants to drop this Black Mage. No, he is looking to drop people. He's looking to go back to 2 men. I am a bit surprised by that play. I'm not surprised to see Edge run away from Tyro because, of course, Tyro is friend.
I've seen him in past races and tournaments where he likes to utilize this blue dragon tile as a grind place, so I'm wondering if that's ultimately what he's going to do, is try to drop a couple guys and use that blue dragon tile here on the 3rd floor.
If he gets these 2 down, the levels he'll get here will be quite sufficient, I believe, without any dedicated effort. That is one of the biggest appeals to the 2-man strats when you're going to run them, is taking away the need to stop anywhere to get extra fights. He successfully got Mono to take a nap. Too many cookies. At chat having this equipment discussion, it's a very valid discussion. You always want to think about what helps you, what's needed, what's enough. If you didn't have Power Gauntlet, when you don't have Power Gauntlet, it changes the thinking a little bit. When you have it, you know you can get any sword up to snuff. And Excalibur is a good sword, even with weapons fixes on, although its value is a bit diminished. Oh, he got poisoned on the night. That's fantastic when you're trying to get him down. That almost can't work out any better. I think he might step back on this tile and try to have the blue dragon do it for him. Or not. Now, if you really need something, if you're an equipment shortage situation, but go mode overall, that's another floor where I will check for treasures. I'll run off to the right side room and check it. Here, it's definitely a case where I think I've got enough and I wouldn't do that. But just because this is an ongoing topic for us, like if I only had one ribbon or had no ribbons, certainly I would check that room. Here's the 2-man. Ideally, you'd have it in the first 2 floors of Sky because that's where the eye hangs around.
Coming up on everybody's favorite floor, we'll see the Bridge of Destiny. So if you guys want to see that famous war mech, make sure you guys get them RNGs in the chat as we see Falconic and Will Cleosis ahead of it.
Who's the defense sword to be ready? That is one whale of a run through there. That is a superb run in one of the highest encounter zones in the game. There's a lot of good experience available on this bridge. The airs are not yet. The airs are not what you're hoping to find on the bridge. They look good with just the 2-man, but there's so many better encounters that you can get here. Only 2 encounters on that bridge? Or was there a 3rd? But either way, that's remarkable. Not a lot of damage from the Excal on that first round.
8 hits for 15 damage.
Was he able to get Brack? No, he didn't, because he learned Heal 3. So he'll have to rely on Tempers. I don't even think we have the Bane Sword. I don't recall seeing it anywhere.
262 off that hit. 304 starting to pick up.
Yeah.
112.
1 or 2 more rounds should do it. One good nuke did it. And that is Orb. Number 3 for Edge. jkoper is about to see what the fairy gives him in reward. There's his TNT. Looks like our audio switched over to jkoper there at a little bit different level. And some Ankylos getting in the way. They're very unpleasant. They're about 80% shell.
But definitely really good routing, I gotta say, on Edge's part for that, going to Tiamat first, because now he'll be able to come right up here to the Earth Cave, kill Lich, and he'll be right there next to, or really close to, Temple of Fiends, or even they're at Old Melmond, which is Provoca, to restock supplies first, and then head over to Topher from there.
I think one of the most fascinating things about this flag set is how it makes you learn not just what the world looks like, because yeah, everybody theoretically knew what the world looks like and where things were, but your routes from point A to point B can sometimes be very unconventional, as now we're seeing jkoper make that well, he's attempting to get to Castle Ordeals, I believe, but he's still near Titan's Cave right now, so he needs to go a lot further south.
No, he's already been to Ordeals. He got the Mystic Key. I think he's looking for the Dwarf Cave, the river system there for the Dwarf Cave to turn in that TNT to acquire his flow.
Fair point. Yeah, he's very close. That peninsula with Sarda sticks out a bit. And he's going to get his turn in. We're done with the dwarves. But poor Hooray Dwarf, he's gone neglected today.
Did we happen to see if jkoper picked up the loot while he was visiting Matoya's at the last time we saw him there?
He absolutely did. Sometimes there's a little bit of lag on the button impresses for the tracker, but he absolutely picked up the loot. He went there without the crystal, actually. He still hasn't done that turn in. Alright, a little bit better on the volume now. Where does jkoper go next? He should know now to hit all the incentive locations. He already went to Ice Cave. I think his biggest thing he needs right now is that crystal from Matoya leading to the ruby, leading to Sarda with the floater. Or did he get the floater? He did
He
get
did,
the floater.
yes.
My
The floater was
apologies.
TNT, yep. And the Sarda item is the cube which you'll need for entering Sky Tower.
Okay, I just had that remembered. My apologies. So the Sarda item is going to be free to pick up now. He just has to run over there, and he will not need the crystal. He also knows he needs to find Melmon first and translate the slab. I love that he saved, and I believe that was born out of respecting the Zozo Melmon flag. That is orb number 4 for Edgeworth. 1 hour, 16 minutes into this seed. 4 orbs restored. Now a date with destiny awaits him 2,000 years in the past. Tier 3 is a pretty nice thing to have on the nights. It's a bunch of extra healing available.
Yeah, especially taking that Topher dive, it'll really allow them to save a lot of those heal potions going down. He can waste some charges of the cures if he needs to.
And the Frostwolves say to jkoper, "Hi, remember us?" You can skip encounters on your way down to Melmon. Well, it happens to be Melmon, but this is the Lefane entrance. This may not be the best encounter table for manipulating out the randoms, but also it's the same encounters as Peninsula Power, so it's a pretty good source of experience. A 117 entry to Topher for Edge. That is just blazingly fast.
Finding that one early loose item for Edge, which was a loot, and then knowing just not too long after that, having the tail and the ruby both, he knew he had to go around and start checking locations. Even though there was that other loose item, he knew the other places at that point were required, so it was just a matter of, figuring out the easiest and fastest way to route all those in.
And I don't want to at all shortchange what we're seeing from jkoper. This is a tremendous pace he's got going, as long as he's able to find everything. But he is doing a perfectly fine job getting through this seed. It's not been the friendliest. The Blaze Frostwolves were not nice. Edgeworth has the benefit of the 2 ribbons versus Blaze, but the other thing is, with those little bit higher levels on these two, it gets more magic defense for that, so it made them more durable, but those Frostwolves could be our gatekeeper today. I believe what Edge did there was just a soft reset. We haven't really gone into this yet, but a soft reset, which is the equivalent of the reset button on the front of your Nintendo, keeps where you are in the encounter table. A power cycle, powering on, powering off, takes you back to the beginning of it. So what Edge did was try to get a different set of encounters in here, and he succeeded in doing that. As Wilcliosis might say, veteran move. jkoper got the crown meanwhile, and now should be getting class change and then a visit to good old buddy Astos.
Also having access to the floater, jkoper might just pass on buying the crystal and doing the turn-in and just go directly to Sarda using the float.
Oh, I do think he'll do that. It's his second ribbon. That's going to be a very welcome addition. Those worms a good source of late game experience if you need it, but I believe Edge has already got his swings optimized on the swords, is why he's not looking to take these fights. There's class change for jkoper. He's going to be able to equip a lot of this great stuff. He's had that dragon armor since the first dungeon in the game, not been able to use it. The black shirt is the best defense that a black wizard can get. It is the same absorb as the gold bracelet, plus some extra resistances it gives you, so it's slightly better.
It also casts Ice 2 with unlimited charges when used in battle,
which is a nice little extra. Oh, these unrunnable angry Medusas have gotten in Edge's way a couple of times on this floor, but they are better than the Frostwolves.
jkoper does.
What do you think we're going to see from Lich 1 here?
Well, we haven't seen a lot of big stuff. I'm gonna say we see a nuke off Lit.
Ooh, calling for the vanilla nuke. Well, whatever else he has beyond Lit 2, we won't find out on this run. Three Agamas walk into a bar. I don't have anything beyond that. It just seemed like something to say. jkoper gets the Oxio from Astos, now he just has to fight him to keep it. I just found it interesting they gave it to you before the fight. I wonder what he's looking for here. I guess he doesn't realize he's in go mode yet. Thank you, chat. Thank you. Three Agamas walk into a bar. They say ouch.
Carrie had Inferno, which took out his one light ward. But there's still a ton of stuff in the pool, I believe, of magic we haven't seen. Cure 4 being one of the big ones. Is it going to be on Tiamat or is it going to be on Chaos? That's the one thing you don't want to see on Chaos as you're struggling to hack away and do any damages, to see him pull out that Cure 4 and know that you have to start all over.
Vanilla unrunnable waters. Good news is the 6-pack is actually worth quite a bit of experience, so he's rewarded for having to slog through it. Question in chat about life access. Edge does have access to life. It's just life 1.
Being on the water floor here for Edge, best case scenario when he gets to Kraken is we're going to see him, just toss out maybe some fire tubes, ices, or whatever. What you don't want to see is that 10 hits for 1,000 damage.
No, that's not fun for us at all. The seafood party pack, though, comes out with stun touch. That's not nice. I'm trying to reason through what's going on with jkoper's side right now. And I think perhaps this is born out of not getting the vendor item earlier. And he thinks he's already got the vendor item, thus missing one. I'm not sure I said that right, so let me try again. I think jkoper believes he already had the vendor item, and then counting what's left, he thinks he's off by one, not realizing that the one he missed was a vendor item. Bringing up everybody for Kraken makes perfect sense. Put somebody in front to absorb a hit like that. That's a great result, actually. Not only that Larry took that hit, but lived through it. Oh my! That was a glass cannon. You are not gonna see Kraken 2 get much easier than that.
Wow, that was just unbelievable for that Kraken 2.
That's what happens when Larry gets angry. Alright, now we have Tiamat. Not as respected as Kraken 2. But very capable of doing some nasty things. Tiamat has more HP, so your concern is rolling a high HP and something like nuclear coming out, which can be a real big gatekeeper. Ink's not very scary, though. Getting the hits in. This is not a high evade Tiamat. And it's not a high HP one either. Edge has a rendezvous ahead with Chaos.
Makes me a bit nervous to see what we're going to see, because there's still a lot of things that we've yet to see. I mean, we could have missed them with the way some of these bosses just fell over, but at the same time, is Chaos packing all the arsenal?
One of the things you always want to keep in mind is what do I need to do differently if I died for some reason? And right now, unless this is a super nasty Chaos, like unbelievably nasty, I think you just come right back in and try again. But he's in very good shape to do this, make no mistake. Leading off with fast and defense. He does not have the white shirt, and I don't think we got Invis 2 either. So he'll only be able to get physical defense evasion on that one night. Stack the tempers up as much as he can. He's got plenty of charges left over to do this with. The hits are getting in. Chaos's hits are not. So it looks like if there's a threat from this Chaos, it's going to come from the spell list. Again, just getting steady chip damage on this Chaos. It's not been bad so far. Damage just continues to add up. Honestly, he could probably get a quad X in here. It wouldn't be a bad play. There it is. Chaos is terminated, the world is saved, and Edge is our winner for the time of 128.57. Plenty of GGs to go around for Edgeworth. He takes the win here over jkoper. And see what jkoper's going to do. Looks like he's going to carry on for this water shrine at least. You always want to finish whenever you can. So he's a great competitor who likes to play on. And we might, possibly, maybe, be joined by Edgeworth. How are you, my friend? Well, your mic isn't great. Maybe try that one more time. I'm getting the green circle, but no audio. My suggestion would be restart Discord. And hopefully Edge will be able to join us soon. Yes, that is correct, chat. I did say possibly. We have jkoper working his way to Kraken. Background, we did get some comments from jkoper calling this an awkward seed. I very much agree with that assessment. It involved a lot of running around. Just the path to get the floater was something crazy.
Try cell phone strap.
Well, there was some audio.
Yeah, can you hear me?
It's soft, so please feel free to speak up as best you can.
Yeah, I had to move to the cell phone. I don't know what's going on.
All right. Well, you just blazed a trail through this one, even if that was a bit of a crazy path to the floater.
It's like Elastoid always tells me. The floater's gonna be in waterfall.
Well, makes sense this time. You found the loot early. So, what did that put you on the watch for once you had it that fast?
Yeah, I was really hoping that there was a, loose ruby. That was not the case, but yeah, that's what I was hoping for.
It doesn't always work out the way we'd like. You took an interesting path through Volcano. Is that a common play for you to kill carry and then go back?
So I was thinking about it as I was doing it and thought it's similar with checking the mermaid's floor before checking that long floor. The hairpin turn chests, they take a lot longer to check than everything else. So I figured I'd check those, and then if nothing showed up, check the other section. It was just something I came up with on the fly. I think the odds are better, but it didn't work out.
Have you seen an easier Kraken 2 on these flags than that one?
Wasn't there one that, like, in my previous race that just died to, like, do this as well? I think I'm starting to get worried now. You might go to the gym and lift after these last two matches.
That's true. He might be hunting for you in that third round.
I do have to say, Edge, too, for you, the very, very start of that seed, when you hit that garland up, and you must have reset 7 or 8 times because of that mute. Were you thinking at any point maybe having to check over to Provoca, maybe get a few more levels and then come back? Because you guys were just not having any luck getting the strike first on that.
If there weren't any save items, that's what I would have done. But since I saved outside of Temple of Kings anyway, just work the turn order and then go grab the chests. And then, four unrunnable zombie encounters, and I have to reset that too. So I wasn't super happy about that Temple of Kings. Glad that it was just as
Garland did find the one way he could make level 1 Duke not a breeze.
Well, that and rolling over 226 health did get him the first time.
You have jkoper on Kraken 1's floor trying to get his 3rd orb restored. He actually got 2 orbs restored before you did. A lot of routing choices that obviously worked out well and show a lot of familiarity with the map, but why don't we talk a little bit about your kind of hybrid 2-man strats you used? Was that a plan in advance, or did you just take what the seed gave you?
I took what the seed gave me. I mean, I planned for it going through Sky. Really, the only reason I did it was because life was only available on the Red Mage, and there really wasn't, other than Cure 3, good magic for the Knights. So I figured get a little bit of extra life total on both the second night or the first night Red Mage.
Well, let me bring you into a conversation chat was having as we went through this. Once you were in go mode, you had a lot going for you, but you didn't have Masamune, you didn't have Power Gauntlet. How do you draw the line on what chests you're going to check in go mode?
There's usually the easy set, and then if I'm missing, I will check a lot of chests if I'm missing. I think I did have Power Gauntlet actually. But yeah, just thinking over the Sharknado room, the 2 on the way there, the vampire chest, maybe the chest at the top of Earth 3. That's really about it.
All right, well, we don't have great volume now, so let me just go ahead and ask you for any final thoughts you have on this one.
This one was, I'm just happy that the rod was in Volcano. I mean, it was, I picked the right location to search this time in any of the other dungeons, and giving me the old runaround, so pretty happy with how I did this seed. Just not so happy with the beginning, but everything came together at the end, I think.
Yeah, you even made that first floor Earth Cave play this time around.
Yeah, it was. I didn't have any money for the crystal, so I figured I'd grab the 5 chests over there, get some levels, and it ended up working out. And it was nice too having the early levels for Marsh.
There's the ruby for jkoper, so he found out the crystal he just purchased was actually not needed. But that should take him to Sarda now.
Where he'll get his cube, and then that should put him in go mode.
Looks like it, so that probably will take him to Mirage from here.
Also, Edge, while you're here, I still gotta say, I like the early move you took to check the first floor of Earth Cave. And I say that because I've talked to quite a few people in the community, and it seems like for the majority of the people, they don't like checking Earth unless it's the absolute last place they have to go, because they would rather go mode it. But I know when I was watching a lot of races in the first week, there was at least 3 or 4 seeds that actually had something in Earth Cave. So it was kind of neat to see you take that gamble at the beginning in order for it to pay off. And I think the only thing you got out of there was a Pro Cape on the first floor, but I mean, it wasn't a bad play.
Yeah, and I got crystal money as well. I think it's a much better play if you have access to warp or exit and a good run at the front of the table. So if you can check those chests getting 1 to 2 encounters, it's pretty...
jkoper's gonna find a heal staff in here with the Titan, and then he just has 1 fiend left to best. As far as averages go on these flags, he's not doing badly at all. He's put a very good run in here, especially for somebody who's not had the most comfort level with these flags. He's not had a lot of chance to practice these. Of course, he's jkoper and he does a lot of things. But we're always glad when he's able to come join us for these events. Edge, out of curiosity, do you know how many different games you've raced jkoper in some form or fashion?
I actually don't know that offhand.
But needless to say, it's more than 2.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's probably at least 5.
I will say though, in Edge's defense, when you are a confused old man from Crescent Lake, there's not much else to do but play randomizers there. So you just pick up any and every that you can, and you just play them.
jkoper up to the blue dragon now.
So
Excalibur's doing a lot of work for him. Golem's firing off Bane. Advantage to all that leveling before you get here is higher magic defense.
Yeah, those rock galls could have been pretty devastating early on for the runners if they would have chose this route earlier.
There's a lot you just don't know till you see enemies. Those guards, for example, we've seen them roll damage poison in the past. Get a 6-pack of them? That's really unpleasant. But we're about to get another chance at Warmag. I don't think I've ever seen a Nacho on this floor. At least not often. To the low 20s on his party now. Hopefully level 24 going into Topher.
jkoper actually struggling with encounters on this floor, whereas we saw Edge get the hero run all the way through.
Edge had the hero run on the actual bridge, and you would take that trade any day. If it's high on this floor only to be easy on the bridge, he'll take it. Double Nacho, this is one of Edgeworth's favorite encounters for being EXP rich. And when they're under 300 HP, they go down very easily. And again, thank you, Edgeworth, for joining us in the booth. Thank you, Edgeworth and jkoper, for giving us a great race today. Thank you to our 100% certified authentic Hangry Canuck as our tracker this evening. Speed Gaming 3 for hosting us. We've been all over this channel. And Braxis, thank you for giving me some company in the booth tonight.
Oh, yeah, thank you for having me. And while we have jkoper finishing up his Tiamat fight, and if you were just joining us, let me just tell you about more Final Fantasy Randomizer coming up. Tomorrow, we actually have 4 races for you. Starting at 7 p.m., we'll have Kaiju Ketsuku versus Hyro Fellows. And then at 9 o'clock, we have Melee Wizard versus Sonya Wrath. 9:30, we have One Fine Day versus Gouda 632. And then at 10 o'clock is Ali Gerbrap versus St. Von Jester, and all 4 of those races will be on the Speed Gaming family of networks.
Always a good idea if you're a fan of the randomizer is follow the game of Final Fantasy on Twitch, and you can just check out the category to see all sorts of action regardless of the channel. But we're always happy to see the channel supported. But any given time of day right now, you're likely to see somebody playing Final Fantasy Randomizer. There's a lot going on. And if that's not enough to satisfy you, be sure to take a look at YouTube because there's all kinds of past races available. And we're about to have jkoper enter Temple of Fiends Revisited. This will be at 1 hour 45 minutes. So a very reasonable time under these flags to walk into Temple of Fiends Revisited. First encounter of a couple of worms. They tend to be a little bit durable, but they're a good source of EXP if you can kill them easily. The 4 gas dragons in vanilla, that is an unrunnable encounter. One of my favorite things I learned about the vanilla speedrun is they do encounter manipulation specifically to route this encounter out.
Definitely gonna get some XP though off those. 6,000 for his group.
I like to call this the encounter that broke the experience scale. Because quite literally, when you did multipliers like the randomizer does for convenience, the experience you would get off of this would be too much for the game. It would actually overflow the maximum possible experience. So they adjusted for that by changing the scale. So if you're doing 5 times experience, instead of literally getting 5 times the vanilla experience, it reduces the amount of experience you need to level up. It ratios it down to just 20%. Brief summary of that. There's a lot of great things in the randomizer. We can never cover them all in just one show, so visit FinalFantasyRandomizer.com and see all the fun things you could get into. Chimera. This is those chimeras are pretty good experience. The chimeras not so much. But it is unrunnable. Level 24 now. I don't think that's quite enough to have that last swing yet. It'd be enough with Masa, and the hit rate's not going to be as good with X-Scout.
But we do get Gurmadu, so this is actually a pretty good fight, especially with the Thor Hammer. We know that they don't have a lot of hit points, and this should give them a decent amount of XP as well.
Yeah, for Lich carry, not that much of a concern. But in the unknown, when you get to Kraken especially, it's nice to have that extra swing.
Yeah, and me personally, I'd much rather take some fights on this floor, especially if I can get the Grid Medusas, than to say have to pick up fights on either the carry floor or even the waterfall.
He's using the Mage Staff for the free Fire 2 and the Black Shirt for the free Ice 2. Most of the work being done by Fire 2, Ice 2 on the cleanup. That should be plenty to clear these out. One survived. Every group just has to have that one stubborn one. Boy, he's getting plenty of these. This is a completely different encounter table than Edgeworth saw through here. Either time. But jkoper has to be very happy about not seeing Frost Wolves again. They got him in the Ice Cave, they got him on the walk to Lefane, but they don't show up in Topher.
But yeah, definitely would have to say that from what we've seen so far as nastiness, those Frostwolves have got to be the MVP, unless, you know, something that we find going from Lich to Cast just we didn't see earlier just comes out and is just, you know, way worse than that, which I have a hard time, you know, believing unless we're seeing like double nukes or nuclear or swirl or, you know, even tornado on some of these fiends.
It's possible we didn't see some things in the ability list. I think we saw enough of the spell list that we're not too concerned. But everything seemed on the lower side of HP today. Except maybe this carry. With weapons fixes on, one of the things that happens with Excalibur is it actually gets a bonus against anything that has an elemental weakness, which carry does. So pretty much until you're talking Tiamat 2 and Chaos, there's an element for Excalibur to exploit and get a bonus against. It's not huge, but it's helpful. Gary giving a big swing to that red mage, gets him down to one knee, and 93 damage is enough to finish off Gary. Making good progress through this Temple of Fiends. We didn't see too much other than the Frost Wolves stand in your way. The waters on this floor are unrunnable. Let's see how many jkoper gets. Well, this is unfortunate. This is probably worse than the unrunnable waters. But
Just when...
Go ahead.
Just when you didn't think it could get any worse, we get this encounter.
The nuke should do plenty of work here, but apparently these guys were all high magic defense. They resisted nuke the first time through, not the second. Here's the unrunnable waters.
Able to freeze right through them.
Yeah, the water's actually vulnerable to ice, not lightning. Just because, reasons. Actually, they probably did that because of spell permissions, and that gave you 2 levels of usable spells against the sea encounters instead of just 1. Of course, if they don't tell you that, then how would you know? One more round with the waters. jkoper making snow cones out of them. What flavor do you like your snow cone?
Lucky, that we were able to get that ice 3 at a low level magic, so he had plenty of charges to come down through here with. Even though he didn't know that he would run into this many and that they would even be unrunnable.
Yeah, he had the black shirt as well, so he had some free charges available if necessary. Wouldn't be surprised if he moves the power gauntlet for this, but he may be figuring out what he wants to move for it. This is a very good time to redo all your equipment. He's moved the defense so that he can get those ruse casts to protect the Excalibur. Got the Vorpal equipped on one of the red mages. But he left the knight in the front. So he's gambling on not getting one shot from Crack.
Having used that white shirt too is going to be beneficial for him.
Good damage from the nuke, 300. That time resisted only 100. Looks like he's going to go with the Cure 3. Or nuke? I like that. Well, he just didn't want to spend the last charge there, but it won't matter because one hit from the knight is all it takes. Now the heals. Always nice when you have heals in the first column. It's the easiest one to heal out of. Here comes Tiamat 2. No respect for Tiamat 2. Not even gonna use the... He knocks about half of A's HP off, while eating a lot of nukes in return. That level 1 nuke, it's so fun to have. You don't want it all the time because you want to appreciate it when you've got it. So many charges available. Really helped clear a lot of things out, including this Temple of Fiends Revisited. That's why jkoper did the reroll back when he did, get the 3rd caster. And he is through Tiamat 2 onto Chaos.
Let's see if he's gonna move his knight out of the way or if he's gonna keep him up there.
He kept the knight up there in the other fights, gambling that the defense was enough. You might go all in here. And it looks like he's gonna stick with relying on the defense. The biggest challenge is just living through the first round. Once you have that and you have the evasion up, you're in such better position. So as long as you don't get one shot or near one shot, you're probably alright. $130 damage from nuke. 280 damage. That one not resistant. So the math works out roughly like this. A defense sword is worth 2 white shirts. So now there's 2 white shirts on. That's worth 2 out of 3 casts of the defense sword to get to max evasion on the knight. Everybody else just has the equivalent of one cast of Bruise. Charging up that power bonk, he should have no trouble once he starts swinging. Nuclear comes out from Chaos. I think this might do it. No, it's probably going to take another. Chaos did not seem that bad when Edge was fighting him. jkoper did take a few more turns using the power gauntlet, whereas without it, Edge was forced to just go straight to offense. Resists the quad X. Got 4 hits on that time. Another resist of the nuke, only doing 100 damage and chain. He's about out of nuke charges. I like the preemptive healing of the knight. Especially when you don't have Cure 4. Only getting 230 damage from the Excalibur there. Not as good as one would hope. If he presses on, he should have this. But does he stop and power gauntlet more? It doesn't look like it yet.
Using the heal stick stats.
Flow 2, fortunately, was not against the knight. Last nukes coming out. Sometimes all you can do is swing. 118 damage. That is GG for jkoper. Finishes second place. 2 hours and 34 seconds. I'm still calling that 2 hours.
Still, in these flag sets, definitely a respectable time.
jkoper saves the day. Finishes this in 2 hours. And hey, he was up against Edgeworth, so not surprising to see Edgeworth make a seed look like that. That's why he's Edgeworth. Edge will advance to the 2-0 bracket. jkoper is going to have a 1-1 record after this. And it's one of the fascinating things about these Swiss rounds, which has caught on for randomizer tournaments, not just ours, but for others as well, is the level of competition really does a great job of balancing out. And you end up seeing a lot of great matches throughout. You don't have to wait till late in the brackets to see top-tier players play each other. You might see them play each other at 3-0. jkoper's going to join us. Oh, there he is. Just as I ask, he appears. The institution himself, jkoper. Good game.
Thanks. So I had a silly sequence there. I don't know why I was thinking that when I headed west to go to the Earth Cave, I was thinking that I would be able to check Sarda at the same time. For some reason, I was thinking, like, having the rod let me also check Sarda. I don't know. And then after the Earth Cave, I just completely forgot about him until much later. So it would have been nice if I would have checked the actual incentivized locations earlier. It wouldn't have made a difference in the race, I'm sure, but I probably could have saved 15 minutes or something, maybe. But
You You were the first to find the rod, and first to restore the first 2 orbs.
Okay, that's cool, I guess.
So this actually ended up being your first match in this tournament. You didn't get to play in round 1, but what did you think of this in retrospect?
It's alright. I don't know. It's not, it's still not the way that I would prefer to play FFR, but it's, okay. Yeah, I'm still not a big fan of the incentivized locations, but the fact that at least, like, all of the items are shuffled, including the fetch quests, is good. Makes it a little more interesting. A little more variety.
Before we ask for final thoughts, I have to ask you about the quick decision to reset and take advantage of the level 1 nuke.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I thought it was obvious. I figured it'd be easier to get through the seed if I just nuked everything, and yeah, I think it was. I don't have any regrets there.
Yeah,
I don't know what party Edge used.
Came out to just enough nukes for Chaos.
Yeah.
Another one left.
Yeah, Chaos seemed like he had a ton of HP, which I guess was okay, considering, you know, the rest of the Temple of Fiends was easy, and he also didn't have anything really threatening other than the one nuclear that he threw out there. But, yeah, I don't think I would have gone through Temple of Fiends again if he would have, you know, laid a Cure 4 on me or something. Yeah, that was making me question whether I should have used the Power Gauntlet another time or two. But I guess it worked out okay.
You got through it. Any final thoughts on this one?
Just a few routing things that I could have cleaned up easily. You know, I really wish I would have got class change before I went to Melmond, so that I could have got the spells there. I wasn't even thinking about that, but I would have liked to have that fast and temper and stuff, but it, you know, I guess it didn't matter in the end. So, whatever. I didn't expect to win this race. Congrats to Edge, but I'll look forward to trying to get in the bracket over the next few weeks.
All right. I think you represented yourself well tonight, and good luck going forward.
Thanks.
Thank you to both our runners for joining us today and putting on a good show. Thank you, Hank Canuck, our tracker. Braxis, we had fun, didn't we?
A lot of fun.
Any final thoughts?
I just want to take a minute and just thank the speed gaming community for always hosting us, the FFR community, because lots of helpful people, and they, you know, are able to put on all these different tournaments and shenanigans throughout the week when we do weekly challenges, etc. But more importantly, none of this would be possible without the fans and you guys bringing us to your friends. So I just want to thank everybody out there who enjoys this and, you know, lets us continue to do this.
All right. Thank you, Braxis. Thank you, Hank Canuck. And thank you to each and every one of you who spent this portion of your day with us. Hope you had as much fun as we did, and hope to see you next time around. Good night, everybody.